So today I have a story for you from a dear friend of mine, John Stanley, who allowed me to interview him and let him share a story of how God directed someone in another town to come to him in the very last moment possible to literally save his life. Full transparency, this story concerns suicide. So if this is a sensitive nature for you, a sensitive subject, feel free to pass it on, to pass over this. But if it is not, this story is absolutely incredible, and it should not be passed up if you can tolerate a sensitive topic such as suicide. So with no further ado, here's John Stanley.
I'd like to tell y'all a story about how I found out that God is real, that he's not just a myth and a fairy tale in a book. Back in 2010, I had a pretty rough year that year. My marriage of 22 years ended abruptly. I was gone. I come home and she was gone. And that affected me pretty hard. But later on that year in October, my son, we celebrated his birthday October 14th. He turned 31. He had PTSD pretty bad from an accident at his work where he lost his arm. He actually had to pull it off at the shoulder. And that was about a year before this. And like I say, we celebrated his birthday. Well, 10 days later, October 24th, we had a deal at the church. It was a four-man supper. I was going with in our NMI missionary. And I was going to go see my son that night, but I thought, I'll wait and I'll go see him tomorrow. And I stayed for the function at the church. Well, I got home about 10:30, and the phone rang. And I was told that my son had went downstairs and had hung himself. Needless to say, it just rocked my world. I really got a little angry at God, to be honest. Why did you take my son from me? But I soon realized that I was mad at the wrong person. I should have been mad at my son. He left behind a lot of hurt. Me and his sister and his mother. He had PTSD, so he wasn't in his right mind. And because I know he wouldn't have hurt any one of us for anything. He was a loving son. This PTSD from the work injury really messed with his mind bad. Because he had a new baby. She had just turned 2. And anyway, I guess it's probably about a month later, I had a terrible day. Everything I did just seemed to fall apart, turn into a mess. And I got home, and I believe in God. And I believed in God then. But I don't know that I really believed in God, if you know what I mean. I believed there's the all-powerful God, that there's nothing impossible with him. I know this for a fact now, because that night, after this terrible day, I was going to leave this world myself. There wasn't nothing else here I cared to be for. My world was shattered. Well, I got home and Man, like I say, I was just mad. I was frustrated. I was to my ropes in. I didn't want to go on no more. So I filled my hand full of my pain meds. I'm disabled and take some pretty potent pain medicine sometimes, and I was just gonna take my pain meds and go to bed. Nobody's gonna care. Nobody's gonna miss me. I mean, who am I? Well, as I filled my hand full of my pills, I went to bring them to my mouth. And as I got them right here, I said, God help me. And at that very moment, there was a knock at my door. And it was like, who would be at my house at 10 o'clock? Nobody comes here to see me, and especially not this late at night. So I took the pills and dumped them out on the bed and out of my hand, and I went to the door. When I went to the door, my 16-year-old nephew was at the door. He's not supposed to be in Carbondale. He lives in Jonesboro. It was a school night. His dad didn't know he was up there. But when I opened the door and I looked and seen it was him, he looked at me and he said, and my nickname's Moose, so I'll just tell you how he said it. He said, Uncle Moose, I don't know why I'm here, but something told me I need to come and see you. I fell to the ground crying, because right then and there, God showed me he was real. He said, John, I'm not done with you. I love you. I have plans for you. Like I say, I fell to the floor. I was crying. I just met God. I met God that night through my nephew, a 16-year-old young man that listened to what the Holy Spirit told him, and he came and seen me. He saved my life through God. I still call him my hero, because if that young man had not come and knocked at my door at that very moment, I would not be sitting here telling you this story. I would have been gone, because I was truly finished. I thought I was, but God showed me he wasn't. It wasn't very long after that I got my call to ministry. And I am now district minister. Still got a few more classes to go before I become ordained, but it's all been God. He's helped made sure that every class was paid for. He's helped and made sure I had the knowledge and the wisdom I needed to make it through each class. Because trust me, it wasn't me. I'm just a country boy. Simple country boy, I'll tell you that way. But God made me a simple country boy that is a pastor for him, a messenger for him. For anybody that's out there going through this, that's just had a bad year, that is just done, God's not done with you. He is real. Ask. Ask and you will receive. And I did receive, because if I had not said, I know if I had not said, God help me, that I would not be alive. He would not have sent that young man to my door to save my life for him. So let me tell you, God is as real as I am sitting here talking to you. Don't give up. Give it to God. He will bring it through. There's no doubt in my mind. And there will be no doubt in yours if you just ask. Just reach out to him. He's there. Thanks for listening to my story.
You see what I mean? That story has God's fingerprints all over it. And if this is a topic that you need help with, there is a national suicide hotline. The number is here on the screen. And I encourage you that if you need to reach out to someone, please do. as someone who also attempted, didn't attempt, but got close twice, I encourage you, call that number. There is more to life than what you're experiencing, believe me. If you also have stories that you want to share, I encourage you to continue to share your faith, and if you don't know how, the link to my course is in the description below. Till then, continue sharing your faith, because it's your story for His glory.